Alright guys, I'm live. YouTube says I'm live. YouTube don't lie, right? If they say I'm live, I'm live. Welcome in. This is Hanging with Dave. This is episode 39. I want to thank you guys for coming in and hanging out with me today. This is a little live show I do, or live stream that I do every weekend here on Saturdays. It's usually 11 a.m. that I normally do this. Just kind of go through the Q&A. Just a chance to hang out with me. Anything you throw in chat, I'll be more than happy to answer. There is quite a few disclaimers I want to throw out, like I do every week. We'll start out with my drinking. I do enjoy me a cold Budweiser while I do this. So cheers, y'all. Number 2, I am a truck driver by trade. I don't always use the best language. So, you may hear a cuss word or wordy dirt or dirty word or whatever you want to call it there. If either one of them bother you too bad, maybe this ain't the right stream for you. This is a tech channel. Like I said, I kind of go down through the comments. I answer any questions I can, the best that I can, without having the system in front of me. It's kind of hard for me to diagnose your problems. I try to give you a good starting point of where to start out at with your diagnostics, or a good place to start looking for to solve your issue. I try my best, but it's kind of hard. Also, with the overclocking videos I put out, I get a lot, well, this is the components I run, what can this motherboard run it to, or this or that, Even if I had the exact same CPU and RAM combination that you got, it's going to vary. It's kind of hard for me to say that, you'll be able to push your CPU this, or you can get this kind of speed out of your RAM, or, I also been getting a lot of questions, this RAM kit compatible with this motherboard. You're going to have to go by the QVL list. That's the best way to do it. And even with the QVL list on the RAMs, they ain't accurate. Even though they're on there, they say that they're verified. Sometimes they just won't hit it with XMP. You have to go in and manually overclock it. And, that's the fun of overclocking. That's supposed to be the fun of overclocking, to see what you can get out of your components. To me, overclocking ain't just someone telling you, okay, you put in these exact digits and this is what you get out of it. To me, the fun of overclocking is to go in and see what you can actually get out of your components. That's the fun of it. Sometimes you'll have to restart your computer. Sometimes you'll have to close your CMOS. But that's the, if you're a true overclocker and you really want to push it to the max performance, that's the way you do it. I think I pretty well wrapped it up. Well, no. And the names you guys have on this YouTube, I ain't very good with the English language. I do my best to pronounce these names. If I butcher your name too bad, or don't feel insulted if I mispronounce it. I ain't very good with YouTube handles. So yeah, there is that, and I want to apologize for that. And I want to thank y'all for watching my videos. I want to thank y'all for the comments, the shares, the likes, and everything you guys have been doing. The channel has been doing pretty well actually for the last couple of weeks. We're up to over 700 subscribers, so the community's actually growing pretty good. I want to thank you all, appreciate it. Didn't know y'all would, I'd have so many people would be interested in what I have to say about technology, but I really like it and I enjoy it. So let's go over here to YouTube here. We will get the Q&A started here. We will start going down through the questions and comments. If you have anything to throw in the chat, go ahead and throw it in the chat, and I'll stop wherever I'm at on the comments to answer you. I mean, you guys are here live, you are hanging out with me, so you are my number one priority while I do this. So, let's get started with it. Let's see here, Habago, 6 days ago. Only Q&A, Hanging with Dave, episode 38. That was on last week's live stream. He must have watched it later on. He says, "What's up, Dave?" Oh, enjoying another Saturday at home. That's about it. Let's see here. Next we have Mahangi Official. However you pronounce that. How to overclock your RAM on the Gigabyte B450M DS3H motherboard. Hey bro, can we overclock our GPU on this motherboard? Yeah, any motherboard can overclock the GPU. That's basically software. You know, you need it like MSI Afterburner or something. You really don't want to do that on the motherboard itself. To actually overclock it without using software, you have to go into the BIOS of the video card, and that ain't recommended unless you really specialized in that type of thing. So the best way to do your GPU would be to overclock it using software like MSI Afterburner or something like that. Let's see here. Next we got, I guess that's maybe a Crazy C1. How to update the BIOS on the Gigabyte B450M DS3H motherboard BIOS for the 3000 series processors. It's a pretty long one, but we'll read through it. I know this video is old, but it's not accurate, so I got to give you a thumbs down on this one. You can absolutely update your BIOS with a chip without onboard graphics or an old chip. Method 1, normal Q flash. Put the new BIOS on the thumb drive. Make sure you have the BIOS that supports the 2000 3000 series 19.2 or up, I believe. Boot off the thumb drive and hit the end key while it is booting. Select update BIOS from the drive. Then select the BIOS you want to install. If there are multiple choices, if it asks if you are sure, click yes. You may lose your video at this point, so just wait a minute or so. Then your PC should power cycle and restore it into the BIOS. Voila, done. Number 2, if you have the white USB port, you can plug the BIOS on that. Plug the thumb drive into the white USB port and power cycle your board. It will install the new BIOS and on its own. No CPU or RAM is necessary for this. Go lay down. Go. Use Windows at the BIOS. It is the Gigabyte App Center. Open it and you will have 2 options to update from a server or file. I recommend the first method as it is easiest, and unless you lose power during the update, then you're all set. Just make sure you select the correct BIOS to install, especially if you plan to go with the upcoming Ryzen 3 4000 series, in which case you will lose your screen after the update. If you currently have a Zen 1 or 2000 series chip, shut the PC down, swap the new chip in, and you'll be ready to go. Anyways, no biggie. I found this channel a while back, and I don't put on alerts on, but I absolutely love it. I'm just a regular tech dude without the I have a Threadripper 2990 with 64 gigs of RAM, DDR4, FlareX PC 3200 at 11/11/11/14/28 with 2 Vega 7s in the machine, and of course our trusted Intel 10900K with the 2080 Ti over here. Just a regular dude teaching regular tech. Hey, 2 guys on the front porch drinking Budweiser talking about PCs. That's what this reminds me of. Good stuff. Well, thank you for the second part of that. Appreciate that. I try to keep it simple, and I try to keep my channel based on around what most people can afford. I kind of focus more on the budget stuff than the more expensive stuff. As far as the ways to update this BIOS, I haven't tried any of those. What was it, the second one or the third one? Where he's talking about the white, yeah, the second one, white USB port. This motherboard don't have that. That's the white USB ports for a buyer's flashback feature. That's usually for more expensive motherboards. You know, I mean, as far as I know, I haven't tested any of these, but as far as I know, you need to have a CPU and RAM in this motherboard to find out. But I mean, if that works, you don't have to have an older older chip. That's a good way. Normal Q flash. Boot off the thumb drive and hit the N key. Number one way sounds pretty promising. But like I said, without CPU and RAM, a lot of these motherboards won't boot. I mean, it's possible. Maybe I'll pin that to the top for you guys that's asking about, you know, needing older processors and whatnot. If they actually work, maybe I'll do some testing on that and put out a new video on it if I figure out that there is a way around that without needing a CPU or RAM installed. But we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. I mean, it's good advice if it works. Luke B, 6 days ago. Cooler Master Masterbox Q300L build for 2019. Is this compatible with the Gigabyte B450 DS3H Micro OTX AM4 motherboard? Yeah, that's the motherboard I actually put in that case. As long as it's a Micro ATX form factor case, or an ATX case factor in a form factor, it'll work just fine. Should put your standoffs in and screw her down. It should be good to go. But the motherboard you actually mentioned is the motherboard I used in the build. So yeah, it is compatible with that. I'm assuming you're talking about the case being compatible with the motherboard, I'm assuming. Let's see here. Ultra Insane Jose. That was on the Gigabyte Radeon RX 5600. Hey man, you actually helped me a lot when I was trying to build my very first PC. Building using the Focus G Mini. I hope your channel grows and a lot because you are quite detailed in your tutorials and such. Keep up the great work, Dave. Well, I plan on keeping up the great work. It's comments like that to keep me going. You know, somebody's just coming back and saying, hey, you know, you helped me out, or I enjoyed what I've seen, or, you know, it's them kind of comments like that that really mean a lot to me. Just a little bit of appreciation. That's all I ask for. I don't think it's too much. Let's see here. Next we have Beat Fusion. You're my favorite tech YouTuber. Thanks for the video. That was on the Gigabyte Radeon RX 56 XT. You're welcome. I'm your favorite tech YouTuber. That's saying something right there. There's a lot of us out there. Appreciate that. Thanks a lot. We got Francisco, I guess is the way you pronounce that. How to overclock your RAM. Hi sir, I have a question. I installed a B450M DS3H with the Ryzen 3600X and two 8 gigs 3200 MHz RAM. Despite the fact that the RAM runs at 2137, when I start the PC it does 3 beeps, pauses, 3 beeps, pauses, 3 beeps. It runs perfect and I want to take the RAM to 3200 MHz, but I'm afraid that those beeps may be something bad. Do you have any ideas what it may be? Usually the 3 beeps on a motherboard, if you have a speaker hooked up and it's beeping like that, it's usually a RAM issue, usually. 3 beeps, let's see here, 3 beeps. That's usually a RAM. It's usually a RAM issue. 3 beeps that repeat after a pause occur when you power on your computer indicates a problem with the system memory. 3 beeps that play and then stop as a computer starts successfully means that BIOS was restored. Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I remembered from working on systems so much. That's usually a RAM compatibility issue, and for some reason it sounds like it's resetting your BIOS. So there's something wrong with the RAM. Either you got a bad, I'm going to say most likely you got a bad stick of RAM, or you may have a bad RAM slot on your motherboard. Well, it sounds like to me, but it seems like it's resetting the BIOS and reset it back to factory for you, which, yeah, I'm going to say it's something up with your RAM. I don't, if it's still in warranty and it's new RAM kit, I'd send it back. Would try to get your money back or try to get a replacement kit of RAM for it. Like I said, them 3 beeps like that usually is a RAM issue. Yeah, I'd say it's probably you got a bad stick of RAM probably. Crazy C1 again. 4 days ago. How to overclock your RAM. Love videos like this, basic things everyone should learn. That many sites breeze right by. Or use a $250 to $400 beast of a board which has options most people simply don't have. Another thing tons. I mean, tons of people don't know how to do this, how to set up their high refresh rate displays and its rated speed. Yeah, when someone buys a 75, 100, 120, 144, 200 megahertz, etc., they expect the display to automatically run at them speeds. They have no clue it runs at 60 hertz unless they change it in the Windows. This is a big deal, and I've only seen one darn video on something like that. Is a huge issue for 95% of people. They get high refresh rate displays. Can't really blame someone since fraps and other FPS counters will show over 60 even though the display won't actually show that virtual without changing the settings in the Windows display. Just a suggestion for other videos in the future. Take care. Well, there's a couple things about that, about the high refresh rate monitors. Number one, you do have to change your Windows setting to have a high refresh rate. I think why you can't really find many videos on that kind of topic is because there's so many different monitors between the brands, the makes, and everything like that. You have to go into your monitor and also change that. And it depends on which cable you're using. I just got a 4K monitor for myself. It's 60 hertz 4K monitor for my 4K video editing. But if you got an HDMI 1.4 connection, it's only going to run at 30 hertz on 4K, unless it's a 2.0 connector, or if you got a display port, that's the only way you're going to get 60 hertz out of a 4K monitor. And even with that, I had to go into Windows. I had to set the refresh rate. Plus, you have to go into the monitor and do it. I mean, it'd be kind of hard to do that with, maybe do a generic one, for the Windows settings. But as far as setting them up on the monitor itself to display more than 60 hertz, it'd almost be impossible unless you have every make and model of monitor out there to do that with. It'd be kind of hard to do a video on that. I mean, I could do one with Windows. That's fairly easy, but it also depends on your monitor and how your monitor is configured. You have to set up your configuration on your monitor as well. But that is a thought. Maybe I can do some more basic. I mean, I started doing some basic videos. How to update your data, how to get into your BIOS from the Windows desktop, stuff like that. That stuff like that. I think people need to know. They don't do very good as a video, but maybe I'll look into it. Maybe I'll do some videos on that. Like I said, maybe a video on how to do it within Windows or something like that. I like to keep my videos simple. I like to, keep, teach the basics pretty much without going too basic. But I'll put some thought into that. Maybe I'll do a video on that. Appreciate it, and thanks for the idea. Let's see here. We got KT Cot. How to update the BIOS DS3H motherboard BIOS for Ryzen 3000 CPU. Can you do it with an incompatible CPU? I mean the Ryzen 3300X. I don't have another Ryzen to do BIOS start with the incompatible CPU or just a black screen. Get out here and you can probably try some of these methods down here that he left. The normal Q flash and whatnot. Like I said, I've never tested those. I always figured you needed to to have a CPU and memory installed in the motherboard to be able to update that BIOS. But that is a pretty old BIOS, or it's a pretty old video actually. Maybe I can do a upgraded one. But as far as I know, you need to have a compatible CPU, as far as I know as of right now. But of course, with everything that's going on with them BIOSes and cutting them back and everything else that they're doing with the BIOS, there may be a way to do it without an incompatible CPU. But as far as I know, you need to have a compatible CPU to be able to do it. As far as I know as of right now. Let's see here. We got 3 days ago, we got Spinky Da Pinky. How to disable the onboard graphics on the Gigabyte. Cheers, dude. Well, cheers to you. Appreciate that. Who else do we got here? We got ZenQ Optimix. How to overclock your RAM. If you make it run on 3200 megahertz of RAM and your motherboard doesn't support it, does it bring you to the blue screen of death? Yeah, it will. In some instances, it will take you to the blue screen of death. Other times, it just won't boot up. Other times, it'll bring you to a black screen. It just all depends. But yeah, it will bring you to the blue screen of death if you try to overclock your RAM too much. That is one indicator. The other indicator is your programs will start crashing or start freezing up without no reason, no warning. But yeah, if you overclock your RAM too much, it will possibly bring you to the blue screen of death. We got Anthony Mauritius. How to update the Asus BIOS. Asus Prime X470 Pro. Do I need a USB drive in order to update? Yes, you'll need a USB drive or some kind of external drive that plugs in through USB to be able to do that. You'll need some kind of storage device that hooks up through USB to be able to put the file on for the motherboard to read it. It don't necessarily need to be a USB drive. Well, I guess it would. I mean, it don't say flash drive, it says USB drive. So yeah, you'd have to have some kind of drive that hooks up through the USB port or one of the other connectors, depending on how your system's set up. But yeah, you'll need some kind of USB device or something to plug into your motherboard to be able to update the BIOS. Let's see here. Banga Sister Productions. 3 days ago. How to overclock your RAM. He says, TQ, bro. I ain't very good with slang either, but TQ, apparently, whenever I Googled it, it means thank you. So you're welcome. Appreciate the comment. We got Mop 2 days ago on how to overclock your RAM. When my PC resets after changing the RAM clock, it still says 2400 megahertz in the BIOS. But all configurations saved. Any help with this? When my PC resets after changing the RAM clock, it still says 2400 megahertz in the BIOS. Make sure you hit the apply button. Make sure you hit the save and exit button. Make sure it's saving it. He says, but all configurations are saved. It could be a RAM, depending on what RAM kit you got and how far it'll let you push it. That may be it too. You know, maybe a RAM limitation. He says you saved all. He says configuration saved. So yeah, I'd say it's probably maybe your RAM kit, or check your CMOS battery, which they don't cost much. You can get a CMOS battery checker, or just buy another CMOS battery for it. Put another CMOS battery in it. Because if you save it and it don't boot up with the higher RAM speeds, then yeah, that may be the fact that your BIOS battery is bad, but that would also mess your time up and everything else in your BIOS as well. Depending, like I said, you know, maybe it's your RAM kit itself. That'd be about my best guess with that one. Would be the BIOS battery or the RAM kit. It sounds like it's letting you change everything. It just ain't saving the configurations, even though you hit the save and exit button. So it may be the BIOS, the CMOS battery in it. Next time you start your PC up, go in your BIOS and see what time it is. Make sure it's saving your time right. If it ain't saving your time right, your CMOS battery's gonna be bad. But it's possible. It does happen. And them batteries do go bad. They are a battery after all. We have Cheez-Its. How to overclock the Ryzen 5 2400G. Mine is the same way. Everything is locked and the auto settings have the voltage so high. Then using RM and with no overclocking. It shows normal voltage, so I don't know what's going on. I know I want to get rid of this motherboard. Don't sound like don't sound like they're too happy with the Gigabyte B450. Let's see, there's also another one here 2 days ago. All I want to do is lower the V-core and auto settings. It hits 1.5 volts at times on the 3700X series. Really high. Yeah, that's pretty high. Tried typing the number in where it says auto and hit enter, but it's not saving it. So you're going in and changing your auto voltage to try to lower it, but it ain't saving it either. Lock the auto settings. The voltage is so high, which that's been one of the big things with Ryzen since the launch of them, is the voltage. For some reason, the motherboard manufacturers pump so much voltage into them that it ain't funny. There's a bunch of articles and whatnot out on that about the voltage and whatnot on them. I don't know. I know most motherboards, if you set the voltage lower than what the auto is, it usually kicks it right back up to auto, because they think that's what the CPU needs to run at its current state. That may be what's going on with it. You know, I've tried mine. I've put in different voltages and whatnot, and mine's always stayed where I set them at. You know, even if I undervolt it, it seems to be setting pretty good. I'm gonna say that's probably the motherboard itself. That's the BIOS. BIOS is oversetting whatever you set it at, because that's what they're set up to do. Apparently, it's thinking that 3700X is needing that 1.5 volts, which it shouldn't be needing that much voltage. But it sounds like that's what's going on with it. Let's see here. We have Romanica Kawalna hiring. Okay, how to overclock your RAM. It's not working for me. RAM speed stuck at 2133. I'm using G-Skill Ripjaw 16 gigs, 3000 megahertz. My BIOS version is F40 on the Gigabyte B450 DS3H. So the overclocking ain't working on your motherboard apparently. I try to reset it, clear your CMOS completely, and retry it again. If you're on F40, I don't know. I didn't have no problem with mine saving it and running the rated speed of my RAM. G-Skill drip jaws, that's pretty. Usually them kits is usually pretty compatible with the Ryzen systems. That'd be where I'd start out at. I'd clear that CMOS, put it back to reset the settings in the BIOS, which there is a way to do that within the BIOS. If you hit F10, I think it's F10. When you go into save and exit, go down and you can reset the BIOS to its original state. And try it again, I guess. That'd be my best guess. I've never seen a motherboard do that. You know, it seems like a lot of people's having problems with this motherboard not saving their exits or saving the settings. Seems a little strange to me. Maybe it is something within the motherboard. Let's see here. We have Joanna Barnett. How to overclock your RAM. I tried the XMP route first, and I hit save and exit, and everything is black screen, but my PC is on. I'm confused. Scared to turn it off. LOL. Your overclock when your RAM's unstable. Shut it off. Go back into your BIOS. Reset the BIOS settings. Go to save and exit tab at the top of the BIOS. Go down and put it into reset settings. Sounds like you hit too much of the RAM kit you got. Can't run at them speeds that your XMP route set for it. So yeah, I'd go in and reset that CMOS, reset that BIOS settings. Let's see here. What else we got? I know we got quite a few more. We had quite a few comments this week. Let's see. We have CJ75 Gaming. How to overclock your RAM. This didn't work for me. Did this, and my computer will boot for 10 seconds and then crash. And says that I am running 32-bit. That sounds like your BIOS is running 32-bit. I'd reset your BIOS. I'd be your best bet for that one. Reset that BIOS and he tried to overclock his RAM, and now it says it's running a 32-bit system. Sounds like your BIOS may be running a 32-bit system. I'd go into the BIOS and check that, make sure it's running on a 64-bit. Make sure you're running a UEFI mode on your hard drives, because it shouldn't be running a 32-bit. If you reset your BIOS, you should go back to factory settings. Should put you back to where you was running at least. Let's see, we have Aladdin Mafolo. I guess the way you pronounce that. The Gigabyte Radeon RX 5600 XT WindForce OC. Hey Dave, was wondering if you could help me. I got a RX 5600 XT. The latest drivers still give me blue screens of death error saying it has video TDR failure, AMD KDAG system. Reinstall drivers using DDU. Same error, please. I get green screen now. Been all over trying to find a fix. None have helped. Any suggestions? If you've installed the new drivers, the latest drivers, and it's giving you blue screen, I'd try my first thing would be to go back and run an older driver on it instead of the newest. And of course, that 5600 XT, when they first came out, they had that bad BIOS put on the card itself. If you're feeling spunky and you ain't afraid to possibly messing up your graphics card, I'd go to like Tech Power Up. They have, I guess you call them programs, to actually be able to flash your BIOS on your graphics cards, and they usually have the BIOS listed there for each card to be able to update your BIOS on your graphics card. You know, but before I do that, I try to run an older driver set on it and see if that helps it. Because you get in them BIOSes on them graphics cards and you don't know what you're doing, you could really mess it up and possibly brick your graphics card. If you ain't running an APU, you could be in big trouble with your computer if you end up bricking that graphics card. You know, my biggest question is, what was it doing with before you updated the drivers? If it was working all right with the older drivers, I'd just go back to the older drivers. I get green screen now. But yeah, that'd be my suggestions on that. Which I got the 5600 XT. I did that video one that's going in a $900 system. I got the build done, but I booted it up just to show you all that it worked. Or that I haven't touched it since yet. Haven't really had time to do any testing or anything with it yet. But yeah, I try running an older set of drivers on it. And like I said, if you feel froggy and you feel secure in your technology, you know, go Tech Power Up and try to re-flash that BIOS on the graphics card. Because if you got one of the 5600 XTs when they first came out, it may or may not have had the newest BIOS on it. So that may have something to do with it. Let's see here. Then we got Death X Imitation, 24 years ago. How to update the Azeroth motherboard BIOS. Does I have to install in-flash driver or utility separately? No, that actually should be, that should come on your motherboard. All the BIOS versions should have that flash utility. You should just have to download and unzip the BIOS version from the website, put it on a flash drive and put it in. Then go into the BIOS and do like I showed in the video to be able to update that BIOS. There should be no flash utility to upload or to put in the system. So, do we have any other questions or comments here that came in? Yeah, we got another one here. We got T Reaper, I guess is the way you pronounce that, 38 minutes ago, on how to overclock your RAM. Hey, I ordered a 2x8 DDR4 Vengeance RGB RAM 3000 megahertz. Would I be able to OC to 3200 megahertz with the same motherboard at a Ryzen 5 3600? And that's one of them questions that I started out with, you know, without the model number, without the QVL list, without checking them, and even with that, I don't know. I haven't put Vengeance RAM in my system. I don't know how it reacts to that motherboard. It's possible you can just turn on the XMP or the DOCP and run it at 3200 megahertz. It's possible, you know. The best thing you can do is plug it in and try it. I'm not too sure. Don't know if you get 3200 megahertz or not. Hey, we have someone in chat. El Demonfano, I guess the way you pronounce that. Hey, Dave, just got here. Hey. Well, welcome in. Glad you caught up with me. Glad you was able to come in and hang out with me a little bit here today on this Saturday. I know Saturday's a bad day for a lot of people, but it's about the best time I have to do this, so don't look like we have anything else. And that's gonna pretty well do it for the Q&A. Hey, I guess you answered my question already. Let's see here. I was wondering if I could help to get the oh yeah, about the RTX, about the RX 5600 XT. Yeah, I done answered that one. I'll go ahead and go over my answer already, or go over it again for you. The best bet for that, I don't know when you got your 5600 XT. When they were first launched and they first released, they had bad BIOSes on them. If you had some older drivers that worked well with that card, I'd just take your drivers back to the older version, as long as they work alright. If you feel froggy and you feel confident in your tech skills, you go to techpowerup.com. They have a program to where you could actually flash the BIOS to your graphics card. But there's a bigger risk with this. It's a bigger risk with the graphics card than it is even a motherboard by flashing that BIOS. And they'll have a list. You look up your particular graphics card, they should have a BIOS listed for it. You can try to update your BIOS on the graphics card, make sure you got the latest one, the best one. But my opinion would be to if it was working good before you did the latest drivers, I'd just try to cut your drivers back to the earlier version. That'd be your safest bet. I mean, I know drivers do a lot for video cards, and it really improves your performance on the graphics card. You said you used DDU, so I'm assuming you mean display driver uninstaller. That'd be my best bet for you. To take your drivers back. Which, if you're using that graphics card, and you can kind of be in a pickle with that one if you don't have another graphics card, or if you ain't running APU, because them drivers, well, I don't know. Windows should automatically determine your best drivers for you and run off the default, which ain't the best drivers, but it should be able to get you back in your system. Can you even boot your system up? If you boot your system up, can you actually get a display on your monitor is a question. If you can boot it up and get a display on your monitor, I just roll back the drivers to the later version, or the earlier version of the drivers. It's a lot safer and a lot better than it is to go in messing with the BIOSes on a graphics card. If you go to Tech Power Up, it's just techpowerup.com. They actually have, well, apparently they got all kinds of stuff going up now. Here's some modern programs for your GPUs, just to monitor them, tell you what's going on with them. There's your NVIDIA graphics drivers. There's your software for your AMD. But this right here is what I was talking about. It's the ATI Flash, AMD VB Flash. This one right here, it will actually let you flash the BIOS of your GPU. Like I said, it ain't quite like the BIOS of a motherboard. You should run the same chances as you would with a motherboard. But to mess up the BIOS of a graphics card is a little bit harder to get fixed, or to be able to undo. But that is an option, is to reflash your BIOS. Which card you got? RTX 5600 XT. There's no brand on it though. Um, VGA BIOS collection. There's the ones for the Gigabytes. If you got a Gigabyte card, yeah, they have the latest BIOS for your graphics card. Oh, you have the MSI Mech OC. MSI Mech OC 5600 XT. Okay, there's your graphics card. Does that look about right? That should be about what yours looks like. Excuse me. But they got different ones depending on which one you've got. Well, that ain't MSI. Right there it is. MSI X RX 5600 XT. They should have the someplace on here, anyways. They should have the where you can download the new BIOS for it. I don't want the specs of it. There's a VGA BIOS collection for the MSI. No, there. You can hit the download button, download it. You can use that ATI and try to update the BIOS depending on which version you have. And it might be, but I won't flash it. Probably will wait for future driver updates. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's like I said, it's hard to do. I mean, it ain't really hard to do, but you could run into a lot of problems by flashing that BIOS. I'd rather just run a older set of drivers for it until until the future updates come out or something. I'd try something like that. As long as your older drivers was working fine and the card was operating good, that'd be my suggestion. Would be to run the older drivers. I have another GPU that I can use rather than risking running the whole thing. Thanks for the input. You're welcome. But if it was running good on the older drivers, that's your safest bet. You spend $100 on a motherboard, you brick it, you need to buy another one. That's one thing. If you're looking at 5600 XT, you're looking at almost $300 graphics card. If you brick that and have to send it back, you may be taking a pretty good loss. You're playing with $300 worth of equipment. I don't know, depending on your financial situation, but to me, $300 ain't. I don't have $300 laying around just to throw out like that. But yeah, if you got another GPU you can actually use, I'd use it. I wouldn't try to update that BIOS unless you really had to. That'd be my suggestion on that one. And even the latest, even if you have to backstep and run older drivers on your graphics card, as long as they work well for you and you can get it done, it does what you need to do, I'd go with that route. I'd rather run older drivers than trying to flash that BIOS. Which I have flashed them BIOSes, and I have bricked GPUs by trying to update them BIOSes. I've never ran into that problem with a motherboard, but I have on GPUs before. But don't look like we got any more questions that came in today or any more comments. Like I said earlier, the community's grown quite a bit this past week. I don't know if you can actually see that or not. Yep, there it is. 706 subscribers. So the community is growing. It's getting to be pretty strong. Hopefully here soon I can actually start recouping a little bit of the money that I've got into doing these YouTube videos. But, you know, that's my concern, not you all's concern. But I do want to thank y'all that watch my videos. I want to thank y'all that comments. You know, it gives me something to talk about on my live stream here. You know, people in chat give me something else to talk about as long as you guys have questions or comments. And I really appreciate all the support you guys give me by watching my videos, by sharing my videos, by liking my videos, by commenting on my videos. You know, it means a lot to me. And there was a comment last week that I kind of touched on. You know, the guy says I should have a lot more subscribers and this and that. I've been doing this for 4 years, and he's right. You know, if you go back and look at my content and do it by the oldest to the newest, I've been doing this for 4 years. I should be a lot better at it than what I am, but I'm not. But you know, I've been doing it for 4 years, but if you look at the history of the videos, there was quite a few. You know, at one point I think there was about 2 years that I didn't even upload a video. I didn't do nothing with the channel. I put out, you know, maybe 10 or 15 videos, then I went dead for 2 years. And then I got back into it, tried doing it steadily, then something else came up in my life, which kind of made me not do it for a while. And then I started doing it regularly here again. So even though I've got 4 years of experience of doing this, you know, I try to make my videos helpful to people. You know, I try to get you all on the right path, try to teach you about tech and whatnot. And yeah, I've been doing it for 4 years, but I'm still new at it as well, because I haven't been steady enough to retain what I've learned about doing it. So I'm still in a big learning curve, so I appreciate everybody that subscribed to the channel. I appreciate every comment I get, every like. You know, this stuff really means a lot to me. Just a little bit of support, you know. Some of these comments today, they make me feel good when I see them. You know, that one guy said I'm his favorite tech YouTuber. Well, that's big feels. There's pretty big shoes to fill, because there's a lot of tech YouTubers out there. But I appreciate that, you know. So I just want to give a big thanks to y'all that watch me. For you guys that share live, I want to tell you that I appreciate you. Appreciate you taking an hour or so out of your Saturday to come in and join and hang out with me, drink a cold beer with me, or whatever your cold drink of choice is. You know, I started the channel, like I said, you know, 4 years ago or so, 2016, I think I started. You know, I didn't know if anybody ever even watched my videos, let alone subscribe to me. So, yeah, it's going in the right direction, I believe. You know, if I actually look at my stats here, you know, I'm up to, we got 73 people in the community in the last 28 days, which is pretty good. That's pretty good add-ons for the channel. I really appreciate it. I'm hoping to be able to continue to bring you at least entertaining or educational content here on the channel. You know, if you have any ideas or anything you'd like to see me put up on the channel, I do take those. You know, put them in the chat, or go down in the comments if you're watching this after it goes recorded. You know, give me some ideas from something you'd like to see. I do have quite a few videos coming up. This week will be an unboxing video. I got the Massified C Mini. I did an unboxing overview one, which that's part of the $900 build video I got coming up. Then I got because my videos for how to build a computer or building a computer take so long, I usually do the build video, and then later on I'll do the performance numbers of them, just because my build videos take a while. You know, I go into pretty good detail, I think. about how to build a computer and what plugs into what and how to do this and how to do that. So it takes a while. So usually my performance videos take me a while to do so. Which I'll be coming up. You know, I have the build. I have a couple other unboxings of the case, which is a Messified C. I got a 4K display I want to do an unboxing on, which I've got recorded, just ain't edited it yet. I got the performance of the $900 system. I want to use the $900 system for an overclocking on the B550. See how well they do with overclocking. Which with the 550 motherboard I got, I don't expect a whole lot out of it. Then I got now since I got the 280mm all-in-one in my system, which I'm awful late on. I want to do an overclocking video on the 2700 with the X470 chipset from Asus. See what kind of performance I can get out of it. I haven't got that one done yet. So I got quite a few ideas, but if you have any ideas, you have anything that you'd like to see on the channel, or you think could help somebody, make sure you leave it over there in the chat, or throw them in the comments once this goes to the video. I had the one guy today was talking about updating the BIOS on the B450M DS3H motherboard. Maybe I'll do a video on that. You know, he said there was ways to do it without needing a CPU and RAM installed. Maybe I'll look into that. Maybe we'll do a video on that. And he also suggested later on in the comment about, you know, changing the refresh rate in Windows, you know, which, like I said, that's going to be kind of hard to do. You know, I can do a generic one, I guess you'd call it, by showing you how to adjust it in Windows, but it depends on your monitor too. You know, a lot of your monitors won't run at their max refresh rate without you going into their settings and changing them. So there is that as well. So it'd be kind of hard to do a video on something like that, because you'd have to have every single monitor out there, name, brand, model number, to be able to show how to do that on the monitor side of things. But maybe maybe I'll look into doing something like that. Some of the easier and you know, like I did the one about updating by how to back up your data. It didn't do very good on the channel. You know, how to, you know, some of the more basic stuff that I did for Windows to get you into the BIOS from the Windows screen, or how to do this or that. You know, they don't do very well on YouTube. Unfortunately, you know, I am trying to build the channel, so I need to concentrate on videos that's going to help to grow the channel. You know, some of this other stuff maybe I can come up with later or something, you know, which I enjoy doing them videos. You know, I enjoy showing you guys the basics of Windows. I enjoy showing you how to back up your data, you know, and stuff like that, which is, it's pretty common stuff. It's pretty easy stuff, but it just ain't very searchable on YouTube. You know, most people that want to back up the data, they don't know how to do it. They ain't interested in learning it. But anyways, if you guys have any content ideas for me or anything you'd like to see on the channel, make sure you put it in the description down, or yeah, in the description. Make sure you put it into the comments or over there in chat, as long as I'm live here. And for you guys that's watching, looks like I got a few viewers watching me. You know, if you got any questions, comments, concerns, throw them over there. If you got anything on your mind you like to talk about, let me know. I guess I should have went back to that screen, huh? Let's do a little bit of self-promotion here while I wrap up, because I think I'm just about had enough for the day. Nothing else coming in chat. I don't think we've had any more comments come in on the channel. That's there, and of course, like always, I'll go back and type back to these guys, you know, whatever my answer was for them. But if there's nothing else coming in chat, you know, it just kind of gives you guys an idea of what's coming up on the channel. Nothing else coming in chat. I'm going to get out of here for the day. I still have to put my bathroom back together. You know how that happens, you know. It is Saturday's my day off. I own my own home. I got maintenance I got to do, guys. But I think it's going to pretty well wrap it up for today. If you made this far through the video, make sure you give me a like. If you didn't like what you seen here today, give me a dislike. There's a comment section below. You know, like I said, you know, I've asked for input for video ideas and whatnot. Leave them in the comments below. I'll go through them next weekend on my live show when I do this again. And also, if you're on Instagram or Twitter, you know, you like to come over there and follow me. The links will be in the description below. You come over and follow me. I won't kill your inbox, you know. I do put up photos of stuff that came in, tech related. I don't do a whole lot with personal life or whatnot. You know, it's usually tech related that I put up in them areas, you know, as far as Instagram or Twitter. And if something would happen, I'd need to cancel the live show, you know, I'll go in and that's where you'll get that information, either Twitter or Instagram. I'll let you all know through there. And if not, you know, make sure you hit that subscribe button, that notification bell, where you're notified next time I go live or I put out a video, which I've been trying to get at least one a week out on top of my live show. But with all that being said, you all enjoy the rest of your weekend, or whatever day you may be watching this. And I'll see you in the next video, or live stream.